Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. Today I am filming my most anticipated book releases of 2020. So this has been the first video I've been able to talk about it. The little I don't even know what you call it, graphic thing you just saw was created by the beautiful Michelle. I've talked about her a lot on my channel, but if you haven't checked out any of her videos, I will leave her channel linked down below. She's like my best booktube friend ever and I love her so much. And I just want to say a shout out and a big thanks to her and her gorgeousness and her talent. But anyways, today's video is about the most anticipated book releases of 2020. So obviously these are specific to books that are coming out next year. But I just wanted to say hi to everyone who's new. My name is Kendra. I post book videos, sometimes beauty videos, vlogs, travel vlogs, all that kind of stuff. I love traveling, so there will be some travel vlogs next year as well. And if you want to see what I'm up to on a day-to-day basis, Twitter and Instagram are the best place to do that. My handle is @Kendra Cus on both places, and it's just gonna look something like this. You're gonna be able to see what I'm up to on a day-to-day basis if you want to keep up with me, whatevs, but that's the best place to do it. And also I have a bookstagram, which I'm trying to post more on. I currently only have 3 photos while this is being filmed. So it's @Kendra Cus Reads and it looks like this. And hopefully I'll have more photos up soon. That'll be obviously bookish content though. But let's just go ahead and get right on into the video. So as I was saying earlier, these are specific to books that will be released this coming year, so 2020. So I did want to start a little series. It's only going to be 3 videos and it's only going to be within the next couple of weeks, but it is all going to be around reading of 2020, reading in 2020. So the first video is today's video, which is most anticipated releases of 2020. And then the books I most want to read in 2020. So these are books that have been on my TBR for a while, books that, all that kind of stuff. And then the other will be anticipated 5-star reads of 2020 or something like that. So books that I am hoping and thinking right now that I will be giving them a 5-star. I think those will also be specific to books that are being released next year. I'm not sure. I'm gonna do my research because I know a couple other creators have done that video and I wanna see kind of what they've done, if it's book specific to 2020 or just any book they're hoping to read next year that they think they're gonna give 5 stars. Anyways, I've been talking way too much about stuff that doesn't matter to this video, so I apologize. But I'm going to pull up my list here. I'm just going to pop an image of the book. I will let you know the name and the author and everything. So it's kind of funny because I feel like when I was doing some research, all of these books were coming out in the first half of the year. And I think that's just because a lot of books haven't been announced yet. And also some don't have release date specific. So only have 2 books that are coming out in the second half of the year. And I think that maybe late spring or sometime in spring, I'll kind of do this video again, but for summer, fall, and winter releases, and we'll just go about it that way. So the first book is A Heart So Fierce and Broken by Brigid Kemmerer. I read A Curse So Dark and Lonely when probably early February last year. I don't know, it was either February or March. There's a cat hair that just went into my eyeball. Every time I film a video, a cat hair is in my face somehow. So this is one of my most anticipated reads this year. This is a sequel to A Curse So Dark and Lonely, obviously. If you don't know anything about A Curse So Dark and Lonely, it is about a girl named Harper who has cerebral palsy. And I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, I don't know too much about cerebral palsy, but it is mainly just in her foot. I hate to say it that way, but I don't know how else to describe it. So she has a lot of pain in her foot. One of the things I love about this book is Harper is such a strong protagonist. She has her weaknesses, but overall, she is mentally strong, physically strong, and she doesn't let anything get in the way of that. She's very smart. And one of the things I loved about this book is I never disagreed with anything she was doing. You know how sometimes you just get so sick of the protagonist because you're like, no, that's the worst decision. Harper was the smartest and the best. And I'm so excited. It is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, but so far off at this point, which I appreciate because I'm honestly not a huge fan of retellings. And I just love the way this goes. I'm really excited for Heart So Fierce and Broken. A couple of my booktube friends have read it, like Katie from Katie's Book Nook, and Sheila loved it. So I'm really hoping for it. And I'm just really excited that it's on the super near horizon right now. Not even a month away at this point. I'm so excited. So the next book / series I wanted to mention is called A Queen in Hiding by Sarah Kozloff. And this is such a unique concept. This book is coming out in January, but then I think every 2 months another book is coming out. So I think the entire series is coming out in the year of 2020. So it could either be really, really, really cool or a train wreck. And I'm really hoping it's really, really, really cool because I really like the idea. So yeah, if you look on Goodreads, you'll see 4 books, like 3 following this, and I think that they're all supposed to come out within 2-month increments. It is described as a cinematic epic fantasy, which I think I will love since I'm just big time into movies and a more cinematic feel to stories and worlds and universes within the stories. Oh, okay, so it's not every 2 months, it's every month one of these books will be published. It's basically just about this orphan princess who's supposed to become the queen. She has some sort of magic. Anyways, I like the synopsis, but the coolest thing about this series to me is that a book comes out every month and you can just binge the whole series, or you can read them as they come out and you won't really forget what's happened because it's only been a month. I think it's definitely cool. I love when authors or creators or, you know, these kinds of people like in this creative world are trying something new, and I love that so much. So I'm really excited for A Queen in Hiding. Okay, so the next book that comes out next year in February is called The Shadow Between Us by Trisha Levenseller. She is the author of Daughter of the Pirate King, which is actually gonna be on my list of books I want to read in 2020 because I've heard really good things about this. But anyways, this has pretty good reviews on Goodreads already of people who have been able to read it with an arc, but this is about a assassin, I believe, who is hired to kill the prince, and then probably an unlikely romance will ensue from that, and I'm so excited because I love those kinds of stories. Anyways, he's called the Shadow King, I guess, so it's a king, not a prince that she's supposed to kill. He has magic, which is pretty cool. She's gonna try and kill him, I believe, marry him, kill him, and then take the throne, but we probably all know that they're gonna fall in love, and I cannot wait. So that was actually the only book in February. I mean, I'm sure there's tons of other books that I want to read that come out in February, but I couldn't find them, can't think of them. Moving on to March, the first book on the list is The Raven and the Dove by Caitlin Davis. This is such an intriguing book. I actually got an arc of it on NetGalley, so I do plan on reading it actually quite soon, maybe the very beginning of January, but it does come out in March. Gives me so much ACOTAR vibes, like more on with a good plot, but with more of a focus on, like more of an emphasis on the romance, which I can definitely get down with, you know, like I really like that idea. Anyways, it's about this princess who flees, I think she's Fae, and she flees her kingdom and then ends up running into this raven guy who's obviously the guy with the dark wings, and he also has a deeper story, stuff like that. I think it's gonna be really good. I'm hoping for the best. I'm really here for it. I could definitely use some more Sarah J. Maas vibes in my life. Okay, the next book on the list, speaking of Sarah J. Maas, is House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas. This book I'm worried that I'm gonna hate it, and I hate to say that, but I'm definitely getting like weird vibes from it already, which is so dumb because it hasn't even come out. But from what I've read, it's like a urban fantasy where the main girl, she's like this college student or something, party girl, and runs into a fae. So she's actually half fae, half human, and she's seeking revenge in a contemporary fantasy world of magic, danger, and searing romance. I guess a demon murders her best friend. So it's kind of like a murder investigation, and the person that is put behind bars, I don't know, maybe they don't believe it's that person, and then she meets up with this fallen angel named Hunt Athalar. Listen, we know Sarah J. Maas is really good at romance, and that's what I'm here for. I really, really hope for the best. Actually, like, rereading this synopsis makes me think I'm actually gonna like it. I don't know why I was getting those vibes of like not really possibly enjoying it, but I think I will, and I'm really excited, and that comes out in March. Although it is a heifer of a book, it is like 830 pages, and I'm like, Sarah J. Maas, can you just chill? Like, can we just bring it down just a little bit? Maybe even 100, 200 pages, just bring it down. 300 pages would be nice, but if you just brought it down. Anyways. Okay, the next book is kind of at this point just like a guilty pleasure, and it's also coming out in March, and it is Imagine Me by Tahira Mafi. These are kind of polarizing books. I know a lot of people liked the first trilogy, and then Tahira Mafi really wanted to write another one, and you can tell that the plot, even though the plot of the second one is a pretty strong plot, you can tell that it was made up way after the first series was written. Because they're not like my favorite books of all time, and I just read them kind of like, it's kind of like reality TV for me. Like, I love reality TV, but I know it's bad. I'm not saying these books are bad, but that's like how I feel about it. I love it, but I don't really expect anything profound from it. So I'm excited for it, but I also know like not to expect, I mean, like the highest I've rated one of these, maybe a 4-star. So like, it's kind of up in the air. But it is the closeout to this trilogy, or you could call it just a series if you wanted to. And I have enjoyed myself so far. I mean, I really, really like Warner as a character, so I've really latched on to that. I did like our main character, Juliet, more so in the second series than in the first series. She's kind of annoying in the first series. She kind of, I mean, she's what, 16, 17 years old, so I guess I can't really get mad at her. She's just a young girl, but I enjoyed her more in the second series. But if you didn't know anything about Shatter Me, it's kind of like a dystopian world. There's like evil people in power, and her touch kills people. So she has been locked up, and then this guy named Warner, who you think is evil at first, breaks her out to try and use her. Anyways, it goes in this just roundabout story where a lot of people are different than you originally think. And obviously Warner isn't evil, because this is definitely a big Twitter book. Like, everyone on Twitter talks about it. I mean, yeah, it's good. And I think if I were younger, I would be obsessed. I still really like them. I'm excited for Imagine Me. I hate the cover, but that's fine. And I'm definitely excited to read it. The next book is Ruthless Gods by Emily A. Duncan. I know I already read this, but I have to mention it on my most anticipated reads of 2020, because that's literally what it is. It is an anticipated read of 2020. I will be buying it once I get it, like once it comes out, because I only have an arc of it online. I will be rereading it probably because I loved it so much, and it comes out so close to my birthday. So like probably I'm gonna want to feel those like warm, fuzzy feelings that book gives me, even though it's the opposite of warm and fuzzy. If you don't know anything about the Wicked Saints series, this is Ruthless Gods is the sequel to Wicked Saints. So it is about two warring countries. It's a Slavic, like Russian-inspired world. It is about this girl from one country who believes in the gods, and she's a cleric, so she can speak to the gods, and she has magic through the gods. Her name is Nadia. And then it is about these two people from the other country that's called Trevania or Trenavia, and they don't believe in the gods. They have blood magic, and so they have to like cut themselves to get their blood and then to do these spells. It's really powerful magic. It's really cool. I love the diversity in the two ideals, the like gods versus the blood magic. And then we have this other organization of people who are within the other country called the Black Vultures. And it's just this brilliant dynamic. It's this dark, seductive, kind of like bloody, but not in like a gory way, but dark, seductive, and bloody, and mysterious world. And I'm obsessed. I gave the first book 5 stars. The second book was 5 stars. Anyways, it's not the point of this. The point of this is to let you guys know that even though I already read Ruthless Gods because I got an arc of it, it is still a most anticipated read of 2020, and I'm excited to get my hands on a physical copy. The next book on the list starts off with our May books, even though there's only one May book, and it is The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. This is a prequel to the Hunger Games series. The Hunger Games series is one of my favorite series of all time. It is so near and dear to my heart. I love the movies, I love the books, I love everything about them. I love the characters so much, but obviously none of those same characters will be in this because this takes place like one of the first couple of years of the Hunger Games. It says, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes will revisit the world of Panem 64 years before the events of the Hunger Games started on the morning of the reaping of the 10th Hunger Games. So the 10th Hunger Games. That's all it says. We don't know any characters. We don't know anything else into it. I'm really intrigued. I really have faith in Suzanne Collins' writing because it's so strong in the first series. And yeah, that's all I really have to say. I mean, who isn't anticipating that? Like, everyone and their dog is anticipating this read. So on to the books that are being released in June. The first one is Forest of Souls by Lori M. Lee. The cover is so stunning of this book. Like, that was the first thing that stuck out to me. I was like, This cover is gorgeous. I need to know what this book is about. It's about this girl named Saoirse, and she has been training to become the queen's like spy or something like that, and she ends up bringing somebody back to life, and they figure out that she's like one of the first light renderers in a very long time, or light wender. Oh, in living memory. No, I think maybe it was just a myth before. And she is summoned to the domain of somebody called the Spider King. I'm really keen to see how this story unfolds. I feel like the synopsis, if you've read it, like the full synopsis, leaves a lot out, which is probably a good thing. Some give away too much, but this just like what's gonna happen. I'm really intrigued to see when the reviews start coming in too. I know that I shouldn't let like my book decisions be based off of reviews, but sometimes they are. The cover is stunning, and I think it's gonna be a good book. The next book, which let me just tell you, I'm so bloody excited for, is The Damned by Renee Ahdieh. This is the sequel to The Beautiful by Renee Ahdieh, which came out in October. This book actually comes out in June, which I feel like is a big blessing because that means less time for me to wait. I'll probably do a reread anyways of The Beautiful beforehand, but I loved The Beautiful so much. If you don't know anything about The Beautiful, it is about this, oh, my butt is falling asleep. It takes place in the late 1800s in New Orleans. It is about this girl named Celine. She is French, and she actually has just fled France. Basically, she accidentally murdered her attempted rapist, and so she flees France. She gets on a boat, which she ends up meeting one of her basically her best friend on, and she takes the boat to New Orleans, from England to New Orleans, and this boat brings like young girls to New Orleans to work at a convent, and then the way they pay back the fee of living there and also being boated there is by working for the convent, and in hopes the convent will find them like a good American husband or something like that. So Celine is at the convent, and one day she is selling things to try and make money with the convent, and this girl named Odette comes by to pick things up, and Celine is just instantly kind of like captivated by Odette's like power that she just exudes and her confidence, and they end up working together because Celine is actually a seamstress and like a clothing designer, and is really talented and really, really beautiful. And then she ends up finding a lot about Odette and her family, and there is a gorgeous romance in the story with one of my new book boyfriends named Bastien. He's one of my favorites. It is a vampire book, and a lot of people are like, there's not enough vampires, but it's like, this is a series. Like, there's going to be more vampires. But anyways, I could go on and on. The Damned comes out next year. I'm so excited. The end of The Beautiful is like so heartbreaking, but in a beautiful way. Like, it's a cliffhanger. It leaves you wanting so much more. I'm so excited. The way Renee Ahdieh painted the entire scene and setting and city was stunning. It was so enthralling and captivating, and I cannot wait for the sequel. Also, the cover is so beautiful and super intriguing. Also, I just went on eBay last night and bid for a Fairy Loot edition of The Beautiful because I really want it. And I got it, thankfully, for not too expensive at all, actually. And it's probably gonna take a couple weeks to come in, but I'm really excited to have the Fairy Loot edition of The Beautiful. That's all I have to say. So the next book that comes out in June that I'm really anticipating is actually something different, something like I've never heard before, and it is called Season of the Storm. It is by L. Cosimano, something like that. I'm just gonna read the description because it's not that long. It says, one cold, crisp night, Jack Sommers was faced with a choice. Live forever according to the ancient magic rules of Gaia, or die. Jack chooses to live, and in exchange, he became a winter, an immortal physical embodiment of the season of Earth. Every year, he must hunt the season who comes before him. Summer kills spring, autumn kills summer, winter kills autumn, and spring kills winter. Jack and Fleur, a winter and spring, fall for each other against all odds. To be together, they have to escape the cycle that's been forcing them apart, but their creator won't let them go without a fight. I think that is so intriguing. There's really not much else to say. I mean, like, I've never heard anything like this before. It is so interesting to take the seasons on as like per people. And I'm really excited to see how that book turns out. The next book I actually just learned about today, and I'm so excited I did because I cannot believe I had not heard about it. up until today, and it is called Where Dreams Descend by Janella Angels. This book has been pitched as a very, very heavily inspired by Moulin Rouge, which is one of the greatest movies of all time. Just gonna throw it out there. It is such a great film, and the theme and the story is so beautiful of that movie. I'm so excited for this book. It's basically about, I'm just gonna read this because I'm new to the story, so I don't know too much and I don't want to get it wrong, but it says, in a city covered in ice and ruin, a group of magicians face off in a daring game of magic feats to find the next headliner of the conquering circus, only to find themselves under the threat of an unseen danger striking behind the scenes. As each act becomes more and more risky and the number of missing magicians piles up, 3 are forced to reckon with their secrets before darkness comes for them next. The star, Kalea, a powerful showgirl out to prove she's the best no matter the cost. The master, Jack. So I'm gonna be real with you guys. I just read that entire thing and my camera cut out at some point, so I'm probably just going to scale it down now. It is about 3 people: Kalea, who's a showgirl, the judge, whose name is DeMarco, and then the master, whose name is Jack, and he's the keeper of the club. Anyways, it's about this world where magic is both celebrated and feared, and there's some darkness looming in the background that's threatening these 3 people, and it just feels like a mesh of 3 things. It feels like a mesh of Moulin Rouge, Caraval, and the Night Circus, and I feel like I couldn't ask for anything better. So I'm really excited for this book. I think it could be a potential 5-star read. In fact, I'm really hoping that it is. And I see myself being in love with it. It's a duology, which I love. I mean, I love, love, love series, but if they can put it into 2 books and make it just as brilliant, incredible. I'm so excited for this book. So the next book I wanted to mention was Blood and Honey by Shelby Mahurin. I'm kind of like, I'm not overly excited for this. I did really enjoy Serpent and Dove. It wasn't my favorite book of all time. I didn't give it a 5-star this last year, but I did really like it. I thought it was refreshing. I thought it was different. I thought it was feminist, and I really liked a lot of the elements of it. I definitely saw tons of faults, but the overlying like theme and message I really, really liked, and I do hope good things for the next one. If you don't know anything about Serpent and Dove, it is about this girl who is a witch but has to hide it. She's living in this inspired French city and stumbles upon a situation where she has to have a marriage of convenience with, I think they're called chassiers, and they are witch hunters, basically. They're like these policeman style witch hunters thing, but you can definitely tell this book is more so inspired by these like late 1800s times, so think of it in that sense. And they have a marriage of convenience, and they obviously have a romance, and it's really, really cute. And this is the follow-up to that. The end of the last book ended with a lot of questions that I'm hoping will get answered in the second one, and we'll find out more about some of the side characters, which is a good thing because they felt a little lacking in the first book. So anyways, I'm really excited for that, and that comes out, what's the date? It's supposed to come out in September, which is really awesome, so I'm excited for that. So after this really, really long drawn out video, those are my most anticipated reads of 2020. I'm sure in the future I'm going to find out about more that I didn't know about, and they're not going to make this list because I didn't know about them, but those are all of my most anticipated reads. If you guys have any thoughts, or if you feel the same way about any of these reads or anything like that, just let me know down in the comments down below. And if you guys have any anticipated reads that aren't on my list, drop them down below as well. I'd love to check them out. But I'm gonna let you guys go. Have a great morning, noon, evening, day, night, whenever it happens to be that you're watching this video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.